So check this out. You have been at your company 2 years, maybe 3. You are the person people come to when something breaks. You trained the last 2 new hires. You know every system, every shortcut, every workaround that nobody bothered to document because you are the documentation. Then one day, by accident, you find out what someone else makes. A forwarded email that should have been redacted, a pay stub left on a printer. Someone at the team happy hour just said the number out loud, and the number is $14,000 more than yours. Same title, same team, less experience. They have been there 8 months. You have been there since before the last reorg, and they make $14,000 more than you. And that raise you got in January, the one your manager called solid, does not feel solid anymore. It feels like a slap, because the people who approved it could see the gap in the data, and they gave you 3% anyway. That feeling, that sick, sinking feeling in your stomach, the pay structure is working exactly the way it was built to work. Companies will tell you salary secrecy is about professionalism. In practice, it overwhelmingly works as employer protection. It keeps you from ever having enough information to push back on what you are being paid. Here is what the company has access to right now. Every salary on every team, every offer letter, every negotiation outcome, every exception, market data from compensation consultants telling them the going rate for your role, the cost of replacing you if you walked, whether the budget is genuinely locked or whether there is wiggle room they are choosing not to use. Now here is what you have: your salary, your bills, some vague figures from a Glassdoor page that might be 3 years old, and whatever HR decided to share with you. You are sitting across from someone holding the full data set, and everything about the structure is set up so you would feel uncomfortable asking to see any of it. You are not negotiating. You are being extracted from. In real estate, there are comparable sales. In the stock market, prices are public. The labor market is one of the few places where one side holds almost all the pricing data and the other side is told that asking for it is inappropriate. There is a concept in psychology called equity theory. People evaluate fairness by comparing what they put in against what they get out, then measuring that against peers. Salary secrecy strips away the data your brain needs for that comparison, and what you get is not peace. You get a low-level disturbance that never resolves. You feel something is off but cannot confirm it. That ambiguity can be harder to sit with than knowing you got screwed, because at least then you have something to push against. When you do not know what fair pay looks like, you fill in the story yourself, and almost every time you point the blame inward. Maybe I am not as valuable as I thought. Maybe I did not negotiate hard enough. The company has a structural inconsistency, and you turn it into a personal failure. Opacity takes a pay structure problem and makes you carry it as shame. When compensation is hidden, pay disparities sit there unchallenged. Fewer people spot the gaps. Even fewer build the evidence to do anything about them. The gender pay gap has been documented over and over. Even when researchers control for role, experience, and company, a gap still shows up. Smaller than the raw headline number, but still there. In 2015, Salesforce audited their own pay data and found significant gender-based disparities. They spent about $3 million on adjustments. The gaps had been in the data the whole time. It took a deliberate decision to go looking. Secrecy does not just hide gaps, it takes away any reason to go find them. For Black and Latino workers, resume audit studies keep finding differences in callback rates for matched resumes with different names. Pay suppression can kick in before someone even starts the job. And because raises often build on whatever number came before, one lowball at the beginning compounds year after year. Research on mandatory wage disclosure, including a study covered by INSEAD, found that required transparency cut the gender pay gap by about 7% in one specific context. When pay becomes visible, gaps shrink. When it stays hidden, gaps survive. You get hired in 2019 at $70,000, 3% raises every year. Your manager tells you that's solid. Fast forward to 2026. After 7 years of loyalty, you're sitting at roughly $86,000. Then the company posts your exact role on LinkedIn and fills it at $95,000. The new person, the one you are going to spend 3 weeks onboarding, the one messaging you 14 times a day asking where things are, makes $9,000 more than you. Fixing pay compression means giving market adjustments across entire departments. Enormous budget hit. For a lot of companies, it is cheaper to let people quit and backfill at market rate than to retain at fair pay. They have modeled the turnover. They know who will stay because of mortgages, school districts, health insurance, or inertia. The people who stay subsidize the company's refusal to compete for them. Your loyalty is their discount. Compensation data keeps telling the same painful story. Workers who change jobs strategically tend to earn significantly more over their careers than those who stay put. Many companies understand this perfectly well. They can see your salary falling behind. They choose, every budget cycle, not to fix it. Then they hand you a 5-year plaque and call you valued. The pay structure punishes the exact behavior it publicly celebrates. And when salary information does leak, the anger almost always goes sideways, at the coworker who makes more, not at the structure that created the gap. Workers blame each other instead of organizing. Individual resentment costs the company nothing. That misdirection is one of the most effective dynamics the pay structure has ever produced. The budget is set. What that really means, we would prefer not to pay you more. In a lot of cases, there is flexibility baked in that this phrase is designed to keep you from finding. We do not negotiate on base. What they are really saying, we want to suppress the number that matters most. Base compounds over your entire career. Every future raise is a percentage of it. When they refuse to move on base, they are locking in a suppression that pays off for years. We need your answer by Friday. What they mean, we are protecting a number that will not survive a Google search. Companies that pressure you with deadlines often know scrutiny is the enemy of what they are offering. We pay competitively. What they are hoping, you will not check. Competitive compared to what? Benchmarked when? That phrase sounds reassuring and contains zero verifiable information. Compensation is based on many factors. What they will not tell you, which factors, how they are weighted, or how any of it was applied to you. That sentence exists to block follow-up questions, because follow-ups create accountability. And when the base is indefensible, they pivot to total comp, the bonus target, the equity, the benefits. Except bonus targets are not guarantees. Equity has vesting cliffs and dilution risk. The total comp pitch exists to pull your eyes off base, and base is the only number that reliably compounds. State law now says you have to post a salary range? Fine. $80,000 to $160,000. An $80,000 window for the same role. That tells you nothing about where you will land or what the team currently makes. That is compliance cosplay. Buffer publishes every employee's salary publicly, along with the formula. Trust went up, turnover went down. The company did not fall apart. Real transparency means you know the range, where you sit in it, why, and what moves you up. Anything less is a costume. So here's what you do Monday morning. Know your legal rights. Section 7 of the NLRA protects most private sector employees' right to discuss pay with each other. If your company's handbook discourages that, screenshot the page and save it. Research your market rate. Levels.fyi, Glassdoor, PayScale, Blind, and H-1B visa salary databases, which are public and show what companies pay for specific roles. Your salary should never be a guess. Start the conversation. Tell a coworker what you make. You go first. That uncomfortable feeling? That is the conditioning. Override it. Decode the language. When they say competitive, ask compared to what? When they say budget, ask set by whom? Vague answers are deflections. Stop anchoring to your current salary. Your next offer should be priced off market value for the role, not off a percentage bump on a number that was already too low. Document everything. If you find a pay gap that lines up with a protected class, save dates, numbers, emails, screenshots. Build that file early. And watch for the red flags. Refusal to discuss range at any stage. Salary bands so wide they are meaningless. External hires coming in above people who have been there for years. Performance reviews with zero connection to compensation outcomes. Those are signs of a pay structure built to operate in the dark. I will leave you with this. The company has the data to know what everyone makes. They have the tools to find every gap. And in most cases, they chose to keep that information behind a wall. Not because sharing it would blow up the company, because sharing it would cost them money. Your silence is their margin. Your uncertainty is their leverage. And every day you do not ask, you are bankrolling a pay structure that was built from the ground up to make sure you never have enough information to know what you are actually worth.